What's up, everybody? This is Mean Dean from the Outsiders Podcast. Welcome to the Great Balls of Fire review. I'm already looking at my phone. I'm blowing up. I have a lot of notes in regards to what happened. It was a crazy, crazy event. And I think for the first time in the history of the Outsiders Podcast, I have only good things to say about the WWE Great Balls of Fire. That's a lie. But it was still a decent show, and I will get to that. Let me bring up my notes. Interestingly enough, when we did Money in the Bank and when I do SmackDowns and Raws, I don't ever have to go maybe half a page on my memos for my phone app. But incidentally, what happened is I couldn't type anymore. The characters were maxed out, so I had to open up 2 memos just to complete my notes here. I've also been having a lot of technical issues with my computer, which outsiders know that, but decided to just go live, get it done with. Definitely wanted to be out there and put myself out there for the fans on YouTube. Hope you guys are listening in, watching. I think Mrs. Mean Dean's checking to make sure the audio is good. Mrs. Mean Dean?
I can't find it.
Well, that's rough. It looks like I'm doing okay. So we'll find out. Bye, Mrs. Mean Dean. You are live on YouTube, by the way. She can't even find it, so it didn't even matter. Man, Great Balls of Fire. That was an interesting pay-per-view. Interesting in the way that I've taken shits better than the production they have. Oh, can watch on TV. Sorry, I'm messing around with mine here. Just to make sure you guys could hear me. If you can leave me a comment to make sure. I don't know what is up with our computer, our audio, and everything. Could be cycling now as it's showing I am. But anyway, Great Balls of Fire was crazy in terms of production and entertainment standpoint, because one was bad when it typically is good, and the other was good when it's typically bad, if that makes sense. But we'll kick it off. We'll get more into it. Mine's not even loading. I'm super distracted, aren't I? All right. Pre-show match, which again, they love to put the pre-show 205 as the pre-show match, basically. Which I don't know why they try to be gaining viewers for pre-show stuff. I think that's bullshit. Like, you are a multi-billion-dollar company ran by one of the richest men in the United States, and you want to get those tiny subscribers from the pre-show? Like, give me a fucking break, dude. However, it was Neville and Tozawa for the Cruiserweight title. I thought it was a good match. I thought Tozawa... Here's my problem. Tozawa's a great talent, and he doesn't need Titus O'Neil. The problem with Titus O'Neil is that he is like a whacked-out slick. Like, he wants to represent people, but he's really not representing anybody. And I know it's kind of hard to understand when I say that, but it's like Titus O'Neil cannot talk. He is a better wrestler than a talker, but he is not a great talker at all. And if you want to push, that's fine. Keep pushing them. But it's like they're just sliding these people in these slots they think will work. So now Tozawa's supposed to be on another level for the representation of Titus O'Neil, which is bullshit. Because Titus O'Neil doesn't have the credibility to launch people at a higher level. Sorry. How many guys have we seen come in, and I say this, how many black guys have I seen come in and try to be sports agents or fucking some sort of manager of some type for somebody, and it just really didn't build anybody up and didn't do anything for the manager. I'm just saying it's never worked, and why are they trying to do it with him now? Titus O'Neil, trying to think of what would be a good role for Titus. The Performance Center. Titus O'Neil would be great at the Performance Center. I think it's fair. I think that Matt Bloom is a better wrestler than Titus O'Neil, and he's at the Performance Center, so they just lost a guy. You've got a slot open. That being said, getting back into the match, it was good. I said immediately I didn't see Tozawa winning, which Neville's Neville. He's the top of the game right now, which I like. Excuse me. But the thing about 205 is it's always a good pace. It always gets going right away. We're good. Yeah, it's kind of what you need to see to start off those matches, and they're good at doing it. So, certainly not knocking them. And the one thing that really stood out for me in this match is that Neville is great at pacing the match based off his character, which is extremely important to a good wrestling product. He at times stood there and let Tozawa kind of get his feet back under him, but he was playing to the crowd and he was placating his character, and that is important in matches, not only because it feels rushed if you don't do that, or it feels too slow if you don't do that. I just think that it's really important to do that, and I think a lot of people could learn from Neville. So to me, that was some of the highlights, but the match itself was pretty decent. Neville, of course, hits his patented move. Down goes Tozawa. 1, 2, 3, as everybody predicted. My thing is I tweeted out for the fans, and I don't think I said anything on Facebook, but I definitely tweeted out, and I said, if Tozawa wins the Cruiserweight title, he will set the tone for title changes within the pay-per-view. Meaning, I think the IC title and the WWE title would also change hands if Tozawa won. That was not the case, which by law, I technically was correct that if that wasn't going to be the case, then they're not going to change, which, if I'm not mistaken, no title change tonight. And we will get more into that, and I'm a little bitter. But I always like to rate my matches from 1 to 10. This match, rating it a 6. I think it's a fair score. It wasn't a super highly anticipated match. At the same time, it wasn't a terrible match in terms of the execution and the story. I give it a 6. I think that's fine. And this is the first time in a long time that I've given a pre-show a rating or 4 or above. So we move immediately into the pay-per-view. And we start with a match that is Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins. And quite honestly, I was never really interested in this match. And it's just because it feels like everybody talks about the new era, and that's who you see is Bray, Dean, Seth Roman, and a couple other guys. Technically, AJ's not the new era, technically. So you get what I mean, though, right? So, the match started out, it was a good pace, but then really it started to get brutal. And I was okay with that, but honestly, it was very unexpected the way the match was rolling and the way it was happening. So I was really happy with it. I thought, damn, these guys are hitting hard. Bray's hitting the way he should be. One of the things that I noticed that I didn't entirely like was that at the end of Bray's SmackDown run, which I should have addressed on SmackDown, but at the end of Bray's SmackDown run, if he absorbs Sister Abigail, he should be a darker character than he was, or than he is now. Sorry. He should be a darker character than he is right now. I mean, I don't care if you give him like face paint or something, just change it up a little bit. Have him not say anything, but just do his crazy moves. Make him darker, because his character is the exact same when he lost against Undertaker, when he had a House of Horrors match, when he was WWE champion. His character is not evolving the way it should. Kane is one guy who basically sets people on fire. His character evolved. Bray's can evolve. So let's make that clear. One thing also I wanted to mention, I don't know if you guys noticed this, and that's what I want to say, from a production standpoint, it was pretty terrible. Because the announcers were off all night. I mean, I love Corey, love Booker, hate Cole, but usually they're good together, and they were just in Cole, fucking Michael Cole. My God. They get up on the second rope in this match and does a suplex from the second rope. So Michael Cole says, oh, a superplex. That's not a fucking superplex, bruh. A superplex is from the top rope the last time I checked. But then again, the last time I checked, this isn't wrestling, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Right? And then there was this one move that Bray had, and he spiked the fuck out of Seth Rollins' head on the apron, which looked phenomenal. It was a great looking move. And then I started to think, like, why are we not allowed to do chair shots to the head or to do anything to the head, take away the curb stomp, take away Dean Ambrose's really cool reverse DDT. And yet, they're still doing things with the head. I just feel like it's a pick one or pick none type of scenario. Either you don't touch the head in terms of any downward thrust or anything hitting it, or you do it with protection. It's just a thought. It was a really good spot, though. And, man, the physicality, I felt like this is going to match Braun and Roman in terms of the physicality of this match. Like, it's really hard hitting. And some of these clotheslines and some of these reverses, it was pretty good. And quite honestly, I thought it was a good match. I had low expectations. It was a lot better than I thought it'd be. So I rated it a 7. And, again, I have to remind the Outsider podcast fans that a 6 at the pre-show and a 7 starting match is a major improvement from what it has been. Of course, at the worst name pay-per-view of all time. Like, you know, and I said something about the new era earlier, and I don't know if you guys noticed this in the first match. They kept saying new era. Michael Cole kept saying this is the promotion of the new era, and this is what's happening. It's like, this is a new era for Raw. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, we did this shit a long time ago. New era shit's old now. So, what are you promoting? And it's not like the draft just happened. Like, yeah, they had some changes a month or two ago, but it's not like we had just now changed it and this is their first pay-per-view, because it's not. So it was kind of weird to me. It was very interesting, only because I felt like maybe there was something more to it that I was missing. Matt and Jeff had an interview in the back. Matt talked about watching cartoons and started cutting a little bit of the Broken Hardy gimmick, which, honestly, at this point, guys, WWE is going to hold it under wraps for as long as they fucking want to, and that's who Vince is. And I'm not putting all the blame on Vince. I'm just saying he is the type of guy who's like, well, if I don't want him, I don't want it. If I do, I do. This is my company. I built it from the ground up, with the exception of his father. And he could name pay-per-views Great Balls of Fire because it's fucking funny to him. And it'll probably be a fucking 5-year pay-per-view. He could take a gimmick that was wildly popular from a different company and just say, no, we're going to be the old Hardys for a while, for 2-3 years. He could do that. That's who he is. And it's fucking infuriating sometimes as a fan to sit there and watch that happen and then have Matt openly tease it. It sucks, but I'm just not going to expect it anymore. I'm not going to write it in my notes. I'm just going to hope. I'm just going to let it surprise me. At this point, for wrestling fans or entertainment fans, nothing's going to surprise anybody anymore. Why? Because we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we see everything. Fuck, I mean, there's 30 different programs on the WWE Network that break their character. You have fucking Daniel Bryan driving with James Ellsworth talking about the independent scene. I don't want to see that shit. I want to see Daniel Bryan fuck James Ellsworth up because that's part of the story. I don't want to see him drive around, drink a milkshake. Like, give me a goddamn break. Shit, whoa. Sorry about that. Like almost flew off the handle there. Speaking of that, the next match was a very highly, not just anticipated, but very heavily promoted match in Enzo Amore and Big Cass, the big split up. They promoted the fuck out of this. I mean, every other promo was Enzo with his do-rag fucking American flag thing and his tears and Cass. And don't get me wrong, I loved it. I loved the spot. I love everything about him. I love him as a tag team. I wish they would have won the titles or held on to a bunch of titles or whatever. But whatever. It is what it is. It's not my company to run. At the same time, you promote the fuck out of it, and guess what everybody said? It said Enzo doesn't have a chance. So what should WWE do? Give fucking Enzo a chance. I don't know if you guys listened to our predictions for Great Balls of Fire. You should. You should go back and listen to it on YouTube right after this. Because what's great about the Outsiders podcast is we're not one of those shows that you can't go back and listen just because it's past. JG brought up an amazing point, and that amazing point is you should give Enzo a big run saying that he doesn't need Cass. Eventually, Cass will go over. He'll always go over. He's the big guy. And WWE fucking loves big guys. But Enzo should have gone over. And they play Enzo like such a bitch. They play him like he can't survive one match. How's this motherfucker survive one match? You can't give him the Daniel Bryan treatment. Bring him down that much because he's not as good as him. No, you took a storyline that lasted months, and you finished that storyline in like 2 minutes, 45 seconds, 3 minutes, 15 seconds. Done. That's it. What is the value of putting Cass and Enzo in a match again? Boom. The big O, nothing. I didn't get it. And I feel like so first of all, Enzo's entrance fell short, as I thought it would anyway, because it's not the tag team. And he brought it back up with his promo, which is fine. Cass's fell really short because the music they played for him wasn't that great. I didn't feel like it fit him. And WWE's done that so many times. They had Emma come out to some weird bullshit, and then they changed it, and everybody got hyped up for that. They had Samoa Joe, when he first came to NXT, they had him come out to something. I'm like, wait a minute, are they really playing music? Because I can't. It sounds like something in the background. It doesn't really feel like Joe. And then they fixed it. Like, it seems like they're in this mode of doing this, and really what captures a WWE superstar is somebody who can come out and feel the music. You think if they gave the Ultimate Warrior fucking Emma's entrance music and then said, oh, we got to change it, that would have been better? No, that would have kind of fucked his persona up. I'm not saying it was terrible and it fucked his persona, but I feel like it's another case of WWE overestimating the big guy. And be like, okay, so Colin Cassidy's the next Undertaker. Fucking Big E's the next Undertaker. Like, let's overestimate all these big guys. And honestly, I just was not impressed by Cass. I just wasn't. I thought I would be, and I wasn't. So it was like the match before with Bray and Seth, I had very low expectation, and they brought me back up. With Enzo and Cass, it was just way high, and and then it just went down. Sucks because you spend all that time and effort and money promoting the fuck out of these guys, and what do you get? 3 minutes and 15 seconds of one guy getting his ass kicked and having to be helped out by the refs. I'm not saying give him the Daniel Bryan treatment. I'm just saying give him a fucking chance. So where does Enzo have to go from now? Up? Doubtfully. Who's he going to face next? Let me think of somebody. Tozawa? You got Enzo going to 205? I will put money that Enzo's going to 205 now. I will. I'll put money on that shit. And if you guys want to enter a pool, I'll enter the fucking pool. We'll pull up the money, and whoever gets the right answer wins the money. I don't give a shit. Anyway, I rated this match a 3, which is second to my lowest rating I've ever rated a match while we've been doing the Outsiders podcast. And it was just a bummer. It was a big bummer to me. So all those haters just hate on me for that because at this point, I don't know. Whatever. One note that I wanted to bring up too, outside of that, was that if you guys caught the promotion for Kurt Angle's special, they had people talking about him and Vince talking about it, which was really cool. Vince doesn't really do that anymore. So it was really cool to see him talk about Kurt Angle. But if you guys didn't notice, there was one person there doing an interview about Kurt Angle that he used to work for, which was very interesting. So it looks like Dixie Carter is going to be talking about Kurt Angle on a special. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So if you didn't see it, go back, check it out. Match 3, Hardys versus Sheamus for the tag titles, 30-minute Iron Man. I think any 30-minute Iron Man match is a waste of time, just to start off. Every Iron Man match should be an hour or more. That's just my opinion. Because every title match should at least be 30 minutes. So I feel like it would have gone anyway. I thought the match was, I don't want to say crisp. Because it wasn't. It started off a little janky, got real good for a while. I liked the hot start. I liked the brogue kick. Pin him. I'm up 1. That's good. I love that part. I liked that the champs went up 2-1, and then I liked that the champs went up 3-1. I just hate how you get countouts in Iron Man matches. To me, an Iron Man match should be no DQ. The only way you get a fall is if you get a fall. And a fall is counting somebody with their shoulders down 1, 2, 3. Not a count out, not a disqualification, not anything like that. So, my opinion, should ditch that shit. But I like the idea of the Iron Man match. I mean, yeah, it was 30 minutes, but whatever. I mean, that's not the worst part of it. And it was a quick one. I got a lot of notes on this. Cesaro and Sheamus coming out like fucking Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and doing what is their gimmick now? That they wear crazy stuff. It seemed to me like, so Cesaro comes out and does his thing like Scott Hall under fucking Sheamus. And then they do like a 5-second pose like Christian Edge. It was strange. was strange. Twist of Fate, 2-1. Champs. Oh, I did mention that I wanted to see an Iron Man match that we see like 10 or more falls. Like, I think that'd be really cool. But you need kind of the endurance guys. Like, how badass would it be if you had, well, it's not going to be Ares anymore because he was released, but how badass would it be if you had like Neville and fucking Tozawa? I'm just saying their names because they're on there. Or two guys who could really bring it up. Just do like a 1 hour Iron Man match, like 7 to like, I don't know, 7 to like 6 or something, like, or like 12 to 11 falls, like something like that. I think that'd be kind of cool if you get that many falls. Like, you just can't do it in a big fight field match because it just makes the other person look weak that you're getting pinned that much. But if you do it on the right scale and with the right people, I think it'd be really cool. Count out, champs up 3-1. Matt hit his head, and I'd said something on Twitter like, is he going to go broken? Something like that. I've already addressed that. I just gonna let it surprise me, or not, because that's how Vince does his shit. Sometimes he just won't do anything, and nobody gets the satisfaction. I did also say there's one part where Cesaro kept saying, "Plenty of time left," or something weird. I don't know. And I had put a note like, for all the people out there who are saying, "Why are you pushing Cesaro? He's so good." Like, yeah, dude's good. Like, he can ball. But when he opens his mouth, you need to listen because it's awful. It sounds awful. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He can't put a thought together, yet he can do some like off the ladder double spring arm twist German uppercut thing. So leave the talent where the talent's at, and that's in his match. Champions need to talk. And he'd be a great IC title, great United States title. But man, I just don't see it for the championship. It's, again, TOP's opinion right there, but the pace slowed down a lot, which I get because maybe they're gassed, but it's like you're at the point where you're building up the finish, and I just didn't feel it. I didn't. Until the Hardys scored a fall. It was 2-3. And Cole, what did he say? He said some shit. He called another move something completely different. It was like, shit, I can't remember. It was really funny. I was like, what is he talking about? And then I swear I saw the ref count 3 for the Hardys. And they didn't count it. It was weird. Like, I swore I saw him count 3, and the fans were counting 3. And I'm pretty sure the fans were saying, "Ref, you suck," or something stupid anyway. But I swore I saw 3, and I might go back tomorrow to look at it, but that was weird. And it started to get real sloppy. Matt even missed some of his punches, things like that. They did this double jumping move off the top, which typically is always Matt jumping with his legs to do the leg drop, Hardy doing the crossbody. And I don't know what Matt hit, but he split his fucking eye open. Like MMA forgot to put too much Vaseline, or forgot to put enough Vaseline on your face open, like Staples open. Like he needed Staples or something. It was gnarly. And he immediately bled. It was really funny as the ref did not notice. And as I was shouting at the TV and I'd said, "Ref, take your gloves out." And it was almost like he heard me because then he started taking his gloves out. What I've noticed the direction that WWE is going is there's been quite a few big matches that have been interfered with by the referees because of blood. And it seems that the referees are still putting on the gloves and doing their stupid precaution. I mean, not everybody has AIDS. There's not a bunch of New Jacks rolling around, so I don't know what the big deal is, but they're letting the match go, which is important, and they did. Quick fall, it was very confusing that Cesaro was the legal man. A quick fall to Jeff, put him up, I think it was 3-2. And then Jeff hit a twist of fate with a couple seconds left, couldn't get the pin off. Anyway, winner Sheamus and Cesaro. I'm only giving this match a 6 because it wasn't done through and through. It wasn't a first quarter to fourth quarter 5-star rated match. It was very exciting. Oh, shit. And it was very entertaining, but the problem is it was so sloppy. And I mean, I'm the one doing the review. It's my job to really break that down. And I thought it was sloppy at some points. And it's bullshit when you got these veterans in the ring putting on this big title match. Like, there shouldn't be any of that. Sure, guys get tired, and there might be one mistake, but there was more than one mistake in that match. So I gave it a 6. I think a 6 is a fair rating. It was very entertaining. There was a lot that went on. There's some botches. There's a lot that happened really in this match, and Sheamus and Cesaro won, and it's what we predicted. So the announcers literally said that was one of the. Okay, sorry. Michael Cole literally said it was one of the greatest matches he's seen in a while. And there's something about Michael Cole that I just wonder whose teat he's on. Like, what milk are you sucking out of a titty? Like, whose is it? Because there's some WWE titty hanging around that Michael Cole's sucking, and I don't know why I couldn't get on that. Like, at this point, I am a better talent than he is. My page is 23 subscribers. I'm better than Michael Cole. That should say something. He kept saying how great it was, and I'm glad he was jazzed up, but it's like, fuck, dude, shut up. Then we get into match 4. Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks, super excited about this match. Both very good heels. I wish Sasha was a heel at the same time Alexa was. But that wasn't the case. Man, it was some good pacing. And it's these scrappy little women that do so well in the ring. That's why Sasha's so good and Alexa's so good. And then I was kind of getting adjusted in my seat, and I was talking to my wife. And blah, blah, blah. I look over, and Alexa's fucking arm is like popped out of the socket, and I'm like, oh my god, she broke her fucking arm. Like, I don't understand what happened. Like, she broke her arm. Like, are you kidding me? And she looked like she was legitimately crying, and I'm like, the match is over. And Sasha was even like, oh shit, like I did that. And then she hit her with this gnarly forearm. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that was dope as fuck. Like, for real, that is the work of a great heel. Somebody who can, even if they're double jointed, just kind of pop it out, make it look crazy, and then hit them with that Ric Flair. Like, nope, fuck you, I'm good. That was awesome. I did say I wish there was more heel by heel. I love the limb targeting. Love the limb targeting. Alexa did a great job on the back and just fucked Sasha up. Booker says Styles makes fights. Sorry, I thought somebody was going to cue cricket noise, but I don't know what that means. Booker. Also, what kind of bothered me about the match is not really them. They were doing a great job, as the crowd just wasn't really into it, and that's unfortunately sometimes that can make or break a match. We've all seen Royal Rumbles where people get booed out of the ring, and that just sucks sometimes because you just want to watch and enjoy. And this was one of those where it's like they just weren't really that into it, and I mean, they kind of made it suck, but I still thought they were doing great in the ring. They had a reverse finisher to the bank statement. I thought it was Sasha's wrapped up. I really did. But Alexis rolled out of the ring, counted herself out. I really, really hate championship matches that end that way. I just do there, and there's too many of them lately. Like maybe once here and there when the story calls for the fucking story. I mean, give me a break. Like, we're supposed to sit here and watch this shit. I mean, I say I do, but it's just it's not playing the story. It's not, and that sucks. Like, Alexa didn't need to get herself counted out. She's badass enough. She could have went in there and whipped Sasha's ass and got the pin, and it would have been a fair match. Well, fair as fair can be, but it would have been a fair win. It would have been a win. Like, I don't even consider countouts wins. Sasha didn't win that fucking match. Alexa won that match. But you also did the same thing with the Usos on SmackDown at the pay-per-view. With the New Day and the tag team titles. Like, it's boring. I hate it. Like, do it in the right situation when the situation calls for it. When you have some crazy Uber heel that's ready to do that. But don't do that in a highly anticipated match. I still thought it was a 7. I thought it was a great match, which at this point, match ratings, with the exception of Enzo and Cass, are going up for Raw, in my opinion. But then I rated it a 5 for the finish. They did. The match was great. The finish sucked. But then afterwards, so I rated it a 6 overall, because afterwards, you had Sasha Banks running up and throwing Alexa into the LED board. And then they were scrapping, and then the table came into play, the announce table, and Sasha does this flying fucking double knees off the top of the announce table down to the ground. But I shit you not, she basically fucking shoved her situation. Sorry, I don't want to say shoved because that's not the right word. Her whole bottom region landed right on Alexa's face. And it was almost like Sasha leaned back to catch herself, which is the worst thing you do when you're laying on somebody's head. And blood. Matt had a crazy amount of blood. Alexa was either bleeding from the nose or the mouth. It was insane. Great spot. Just I wish she would have hit it better. But it made me feel a little bit better about the ending. So I thought that was kind of cool. It felt like it was needed. Felt like Sasha was screwed, so she went and did something about it. And I kind of think that's how things should be. They were marketing Battleground for SmackDown. And one of the thoughts that came to my head was like, do they really need this cross-promotion marketing? Is it really that important to them, or is it really causing an uproar of buys for cross-promotion marketing? Because as far as I'm concerned, they're still two different brands. They're still battling for ratings, and yet they keep talking about how excited they are about the other's pay-per-views, which is kind of weird. But I don't know. It's like all Vince said is he wanted them to go at it hard, Stephanie and fucking Shane, and really make this competition. It's like, damn. Like, they don't even care anymore. They're like, oh, SmackDown's pay-per-view is on 2 weeks. You guys should check it out. We will. Okay, dude. You really shouldn't be promoting it at all. You should be like Great Balls of Fire, which is way better than what Battleground's going to be. Like, it should be that. And you can't teach that, apparently. Match 5, Miz versus Ambrose. I'm over it. We talked about this on the predictions. One that we put on ClickPod at podomatic.com. I'm over it. Like, they did the IC title thing in SmackDown. They're doing it again now. Who really has the benefit of winning? Who has the benefit of losing? If Ambrose wins, he'll feud with somebody else. If Miz wins, he'll feud with somebody else. Like, it should be the end of the end, in my opinion. And the match wasn't that good. Actually, it's one I had the smallest notes on. I did say that the Miz looks pretty confident. Could be some sort of title change, maybe, but anyway. Dean Ambrose bled from the mouth. 3 people bleeding in this pay-per-view. I realized I just sounded really high-pitched there. 3 people bleeding in one pay-per-view. And nobody stopped anything, which is incredible. Man, just gonna bask in this for a minute. This is nice. I feel like I get to see a match. Although the match wasn't super great, but the second match that we had, ref sucks chance. So first for everything in the WWE. Winner was The Miz. I rated the match 5. It wasn't awful. It wasn't like the worst match ever. It wasn't Enzo Amore and Cass. It was just same old shit we've seen for the past 6 months. So not anything new. Now, we are going to get into the Braun Strowman-Roman Reigns match. And I'll tell you right now that we had talked about this during the predictions. JG and Tommy mentioned they were excited about it. I was excited about it. I thought the level of physicality keeps increasing, which is really cool. You don't really get to see that a lot. And there's injuries on the line, and there's pride, and there's all this stuff. So story kind of writes itself out. It's virtually like a Goliath versus Goliath type of scenario, except one Goliath is bigger than the other Goliath. It was pretty hard hitting right off the bat. I mean, they pretty much went at it and started messing around the ring a lot. I'm like, damn, come on, man. One thing that I loved about ambulance matches originally is that you take them to the ambulance and then you somehow get pulled back to the ring area and then you go back out. It's a back and forth. And I think that's kind of the struggle that you show in an ambulance match. They didn't really do any of that, but they went up the ramp, which was really funny because it was either Braun or Roman who just started destroying. I think it was Braun who started destroying the table. And I shit you not, go back to this moment in this match on WWEnetwork.com, only $9.99, and watch Corey Graves literally hold Michael Cole in his arms. It was adorable, and I think somebody's getting a fresh bottle of white wine tonight, so I'm happy for them, as always. But it was awesome because it just showed me how much of a bitch Michael Cole is. And I feel bad for Corey because genuinely I think he's a legit type of guy. But that was pretty cute. It was a good moment. It's a feel-good moment in a hard match. You know what I'm saying? They're up the ramp. Corey embraces Cole. And I was like, damn, you know, WWE loves to do big spots on Raw and have that sort of end the show or whatever the case may be, or be like one of the big spots, and then do it the exact same thing on a pay-per-view for the same match, which they did. They threw Roman and Braun threw Roman on the side of an ambulance, which, like, yeah. I literally called it out minutes before it happened. And I'm not saying I know the Nostradamus of wrestling, but it happened. I was there. So whatever. But then they get up the ramp again, and I like the struggle between the stage and the ambulance. I like that. And then they get up the ramp, and it looks like, man, there's going to be some nasty fall. Braun's going to power slam him on the LED stage, which that'd be tough. That'd hurt. Not anything we haven't seen before, but that's still rough. Instead, Roman throws Braun through the entire stack of LED hanging lights, not where the stage curved, but where it's flat behind it. And he went through, and I was like, damn, that was a pretty good spot, because I'm tired of seeing the fucking barricade spot and all that stuff. Like, make it bigger. Make it something bigger. And there's something to be said about chemistry in these type of matches. There are very, I don't want to say very few people, but there are people that have this, I don't know, it's like a chemistry. It's, you always say Rock and Austin. That's too far ahead. You always say Rock and Austin. You say Brett and Austin. I mean, Stone Cold, whatever. You get it. Sting and Flair. Roman and Braun have a very particular chemistry together, and it makes it really entertaining to watch. So I would say between Roman and Braun, I think that they have a great chemistry. I think they make the matches entertaining. They both kind of push themselves, and I think that's what really helps Roman Reigns secure himself the way he's secured. If you guys are sending comments, by the way, for some reason, I only get them on Google Hangouts. So I'm just taking a quick moment to pause and see if there's any comments in the field here. But, hey, how's it going? Anna! So, shit. Oh, I did something. Don't pay attention to me. I'm being an asshole. Oh my God. So, I can't see the comments you guys are commenting. You just text me. Let me give you my phone number. It's 1-800-SUPLEX-CITY. Go fuck yourself. Don't text me. But should hit up our clickpod@gmail email address. Hit me up there if I can't see them. I think that'd be a great place too. One thing I did want to mention is that we are giving a WWE Network gift card away at the end of the show. So I will give it to, I don't know, the 10th person or whatever who emails us to say they want the gift card. Just email clickpod@gmail.com. 10th person who sends in, I'll shout you out and let you know. Excuse me. Anyway, I just totally fucked up that Roman and Braun review. The match was good. At this point, match is still good. You know, they kind of get down to the ambulance and start throwing punches, Superman punches. It looks like Braun's going to go in, and at this point, I'm not really sure there's reversing to get the win. All of a sudden, Roman goes for this crazy fucking spear. And Braun just moves out of the way. He goes all the way in the back of the ambulance, and they shut it for the win. But then I was like, damn, that was pretty good. Not bad, you know? Then all of a sudden, Roman gets out, and he starts beating the shit out of Braun. Like, really beating the shit out of him. And, man, he puts him in the back of the ambulance, drives it out to the parking garage, and all of a sudden stops, and he backs up and drives real fast and smashes into a truck. And it smashes up the ambulance. And I haven't seen something like that since the Ruthless Aggression era, since the Attitude era. That was a really cool spot. And I feel like that was like more of a storybook ending on the Braun and Roman deal, because there's literally nothing Roman could have done to beat Braun Strowman. He couldn't drive him into a truck and stop him. It was a great spot, though. Here, Kurt Angle came out. JB Noble's trying to fucking open the door, which is really funny. Way smaller than Kurt Angle's. Kurt Angle's kind of a small dude, but way smaller than Kurt. Trying to get a crowbar to open this thing up. My wife's like, why don't they just move the ambulance? But anyway, so at this point, everybody's shocked, and of course the announcers are playing it off like it's some fucking, oh my god, like this just happened, are you kidding me? Which is cool. I mean, it's fine. They played into the hype, into the idea of what happened, which is good. And then all of a sudden, fucking Heath Slater and Kurt Hawkins are literally out in the ring, just shocked that they're out in the ring. They're still putting their pads on, and they're like, okay, sorry, like, what should we do? And it felt, so at first I was like, maybe they're just kind of playing into this, we got to move on type of thing or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, it was so funny because they were just like, I don't know what we're doing. And they started wrestling. And then they cut back to the back again where they're trying to get Braun out of this ambulance. And randomly you hear the bell ring. And they're like, and your winner is Heath Slater. And it's like, what? Like, what? You didn't even see the match finish. Like, what was the point of that? And the more and more I think about it, the more and more I think it was an issue. It shouldn't have happened that way. And they just needed some sort of filler, and it just didn't work that way. So that was really funny, but from a production standpoint, it kind of sucked. They came out, had the jaws of life, opened it up. Braun came out all bloody. You could tell it was fake blood. Sorry, kids, or whatever. Since they make it a point to make it not real. And then I looked at the clock and I'm like, God damn, are you fucking kidding me? This is going to be Goldberg and Lesnar all over again. It's going to be a minute 30. I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, I start getting mad. And literally all Cole, Corey, and Booker would do is talk about what happened in the ambulance. Don't get me wrong, you want to sell it. Like, sell it. Yeah, that's fine. But don't sit there and talk about it for fucking 5 minutes, like, with nothing happening. And take away all that time that fucking Joe and Brock could have had. So I was getting mad. I even tweeted out to Brian Alvarez, I was saying, you think this is going to be a minute 45? You know, Brock versus Goldberg again. But it was cool to see Braun get up, walk away on his own accord, and all that stuff. It was, again, I'm not taking anything away from Brock and Roman. They did great. I think, honestly, they definitely set the trend for the show, for sure. So, finally, they got to Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar. And by this time, I am so pumped up. I literally, for the first time in a long time, moved to the edge of my seat. Before the match started, I was just ready to go. You know, Brock comes out. Joe and Brock are out in the ring. They're announcing. Paul Heyman's doing the announcing for Brock. Joe jumps him from behind, starts beating the shit out of him, throw him in the barricade, hits him on the table, gets in the ring and waits for him, which is great fucking strategy, for real. Amazing strategy. And then at that point, they kept saying, well, I don't think the match has started, which I agree with. I didn't hear a bell ring. And I'm like, this is going to be over quick. It feels like a Joe win, which I was not anticipating originally. So then the match started, and they really got off to a grapple MMA type feel. It was very close quarters, pulls, wrenches, things like that. It was really cool. Then all of a sudden, Brock gets into it. German. I mean, he was killing it with the German suplexes. Then you get Joe try to hit the coquina clutch a couple times, and Brock did a great job of staying out of position. And this man is trained. It's hard to get a choke on this dude. I mean, ultimately, though, it was good. Like, it was, I mean, shit, it was Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe. It was what we wanted, and I really liked it. You know, there were some really good reverses there. The match, again, it's not Rock and Stone Cold WrestleMania 17, but it was a good match for the pay-per-view. And in my opinion, it was a great way to end it. It was like when you're getting ready to watch that UFC, like John Jones versus fucking Anderson Silva, something crazy, like fucking Chuck Liddell versus, I don't know, fucking anybody. At this point, like it's like you feel it, and I felt it, and they delivered the way they're supposed to. Unfortunately, nothing more, but fortunately, nothing less, which was great. I was yelling at the TV quite a bit because my boy is Joe. He has been since he came into TNA. And I was just really hoping they would put it on him for a night and give it back to Brock the next night or something to give him a title win. Don't build this man up and have him shit the bed. Like, that's all I'm saying. And then they're gonna give him sympathy by being like, hey, even the greatest have not beat Brock or something stupid. So the match overall was a 7. Again, it wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't the worst. It was a good match for what it was. And I think there could be a rematch down the road, hopefully. This is good. Overall, for Great Balls of Fire, them great balls, I gave it a 7, which is the highest I've ever rated any show that I've reviewed. It was a good show. It wasn't bad. Again, from a production standpoint, it was okay. It was kind of shoddy. But from an entertainment standpoint and a match standpoint, this is probably pay-per-view of the year for me. So it's that high up. Let's see if anybody sent us anything in on our Gmail. Don't see anything there. And my fucking computer is really loud. But one thing I'm curious about for everybody too is curious what people think of Denzo and Cass thing. I mean, that's the biggest thing to me. Everything else played out sort of the way it was expected to play out. In terms of Denzo and Cass thing, that was the one thing that was just that's the biggest thing to me. Really, really strange. And I don't know. It was just weird, you know? It was a weird one. Big takeaways, though, I mean, I thought genuinely it was pretty good. And I just hope that in the future, we start having more pay-per-views like that. And that's just my opinion. So, again, we were gonna give out a WWE Network gift card to the person who emails us at our clickpod@gmail.com address. Interestingly enough, nobody wants a free WWE Network gift card. So, in light of the current situation we have, Mr. Tom E. Guns will be receiving a WWE Network gift card courtesy of the TOP family, because that motherfucker does not have the WWE Network, and I am tired of yelling at him for it. So, Mr. Tommy Guns, congratulations. You are the brand new owner of 1 month, or 2 if they have a free month, of WWE Network. So you will get SummerSlam for free. Congrats. And tell your wife I'm sorry, because it's like for people who discover internet porn, and all of a sudden they come out of this room with like this gnarly beard and like one jacked arm. Like, it'll be like that, but for wrestling. Not like that, but for wrestling. That was a bad comparison, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. Tommy Guns, we got your back. We'll get you that WWE Network gift card. For the rest of you, subscribe to the Outsiders podcast. YouTube has given us the bone, but we're still coming. We have more content out on Podomatic.com, ClickPod at Podomatic.com, or on Twitter at ClickPod, or the Outsiders podcast on Facebook. Go there, like us. Podbean, Spreaker, iTunes. We're everywhere. Give us the support, and we will give you back what you are looking for. Real motherfucking reviews of wrestling. That's it for me and Dean. Outsiders podcast. Bitch.